Right now, as you're watching this video, there's something hurtling through space at over 40 kilometers per second that could potentially end human civilization as we know it. It's not an asteroid from our solar system. It's not space debris. It's something far more terrifying. A rogue comet from the depths of interstellar space that has already done something that has astronomers around the world deeply concerned. Comet 3I/ATLAS, and yes, that I stands for interstellar, has changed its trajectory. Not once, but multiple times. And the latest calculations suggest a scenario that keeps scientists awake at night. Stay with me for the next 20 minutes, because what I'm about to reveal will change how you think about our planet's safety forever. 3 weeks ago, something happened that shattered every assumption we had about 3I/ATLAS. In control rooms across 3 continents, coffee cups froze mid-air, conversations died in whispered disbelief, and computer screens flickered with the same impossible readings. 3I/ATLAS had moved, not drifted, not tumbled in some predictable orbital decay. It had purposefully altered its course by 18 degrees in less than 6 hours. To understand why this sent shockwaves through the astronomical community, you need to grasp something fundamental about how objects behave in space. Everything, asteroids, comets, debris, follows predictable paths. They're slaves to gravity and momentum, tumbling through the void according to laws that haven't changed since Newton. When we discovered 3I/ATLAS in early 2019, it seemed like just another fascinating visitor from interstellar space. Only the second confirmed object from outside our solar system, following the mysterious Oumuamua in 2017. Scientists were excited because interstellar objects are incredibly rare, cosmic messengers carrying secrets from distant star systems. But 3I/ATLAS was different from the beginning. Its light curve, the way it reflected sunlight, was wrong. Natural objects tumble chaotically through space, creating irregular brightness patterns. 3I/ATLAS showed a perfectly regular rotation, exactly 4.2 hours, with variations measured in milliseconds, like a precision instrument maintaining perfect stability across the emptiness of space. It rotates like clockwork. Dr. Sarah Martinez from the Deep Space Tracking Network noted in her classified report. No natural object maintains that kind of rotational precision. We're looking at something that was either manufactured or is actively maintaining its orientation. When global observatories turned their full attention to 3I/ATLAS, what they found defied every model of natural space objects. Spectroscopic analysis revealed a surface composition that read like an engineering manifest. Nickel-iron alloys in precise ratios that don't occur naturally. Rare earth elements arranged in geometric patterns. A reflectivity so uniform it suggested active surface maintenance rather than the chaotic pitting and cratering you'd expect from millions of years drifting through interstellar space. The metallurgy was what truly alarmed experts. Laboratory analysis of the spectral data revealed isotope ratios that are impossible in nature, elements that could only be created through controlled stellar nucleosynthesis, the kind of precision engineering that would require turning the core of a star into a manufacturing facility. We're not looking at a rock that's been tumbling through space for eons, admitted a materials scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, speaking on condition of anonymity. We're looking at something that was manufactured recently, and by beings with technology we can barely comprehend. But the composition anomalies were just the beginning. Radio telescopes detected something that made even skeptics reconsider their assumptions. 3I/ATLAS was electromagnetically active. Not the random radio noise you'd expect from a cold rock reflecting cosmic radiation, but organized signals, mathematical sequences, prime numbers, binary counting systems, the kind of structured information that screams artificial intelligence. For months, response teams tried to communicate. They beamed back mathematical sequences, simple counting, prime numbers, basic geometric relationships. the universal language of intelligence designed to bridge the gap between minds separated by the vast darkness of space. The response came slowly at first, subtle phase shifts in the signals, deliberate frequency changes, like someone learning a new language, testing comprehension, building vocabulary, one concept at a time. September 12th changed everything. An overnight shift at the Atacama Large Millimeter Array detected 3 I/ATLAS suddenly blazing with activity. Not the gentle mathematical exchanges they'd grown accustomed to, but a data burst so complex it overwhelmed their initial processing systems. It took 3 supercomputers working in parallel just to decode the basic structure. What emerged was breathtaking and terrifying in equal measure. A 3-dimensional star map rendered in pure mathematics. Not crude pictographs or simple dot patterns, but precise astronomical coordinates showing nearby star systems as they appeared 40,000 years ago. A temporal perspective that would require millennia of careful observation to construct. It was like receiving a cosmic GPS system, one researcher explained during an emergency session of the International Astronomical Union. But embedded within that star map was something that made our blood run cold. Hidden in the stellar coordinates was a detailed breakdown of a system 12.3 light-years away, a red dwarf star with 3 planets. The inner world carried symbols that translation algorithms identified as engineered or constructed, an artificial planet, or one that had been completely terraformed. But the detail that kept cryptographers awake for weeks was how Earth appeared in their map. Our planet was clearly marked, surrounded by precise orbital data for every satellite we'd ever launched. They knew our technology, our capabilities, our exact position in space and time. And beside Earth's coordinates sat a single symbol that made intelligence analysts worldwide lose sleep, a designation that translated most closely to priority target or primary objective. 3 separate linguistic analysis teams reached the same conclusion independently. This wasn't casual labeling. In the context of the message's mathematical structure, it read like a mission parameter. 3 days after that star map was fully decoded, 3 I/ATLAS moved. September 15th, 1423 UTC. The Goldstone Deep Space Communications Complex detected electromagnetic activity around 3 I/ATLAS that spiked beyond anything they'd measured before. Plasma discharges rippled across its hull in perfect geometric patterns, not chaotic solar activity, but precisely timed sequences that looked disturbingly like an engine firing pattern. The energy density was impossible. A plasma physicist consulting for the Deep Space Network later testified to a closed Senate committee. This object, roughly the size of Manhattan, was generating power levels equivalent to a moderate-sized star, and it was doing it with surgical precision. For 3 hours and 47 minutes, the energy pulses continued. Each burst lasted exactly 2.1 seconds, with intervals of 7.3 seconds between them. The mathematical precision was inhuman, literally. When the sequence ended, tracking stations around the world reported something that should have been impossible. 3 I/ATLAS had changed course by 18.7 degrees. Not gradually over weeks or months, not following any known trajectory mechanics, but in a single controlled maneuver that violated every principle of orbital dynamics we understand. To put this in perspective, when we want to change a spacecraft's trajectory by even 2 degrees, it requires months of planning, precise burn calculations, and enormous fuel expenditure. The physics of momentum conservation means you can't just turn in space without pushing against something. 3 I/ATLAS had somehow altered its path through space without visible propellant, without reaction mass, and without generating the heat signature that should accompany such massive energy expenditure. It's like watching someone rewrite the laws of physics in real time. A propulsion engineer at SpaceX later wrote in his resignation letter, "They're not using rocket engines. They're manipulating space-time itself, making space flow in the direction they want to travel." The new trajectory calculations were even more disturbing than the impossible propulsion method. 3I/ATLAS was now on a direct intercept course with Earth's orbital path. Not a close flyby, not a gravitational slingshot maneuver, a collision course. Projected impact date: March 15th, 2026 at 11:42 UTC. The precision was unsettling, calculated to the minute as if this was a scheduled appointment rather than a cosmic accident. When the course change was confirmed, the response was swift and carefully orchestrated. Publicly, space agencies maintained studied calm. Press releases spoke of anomalous trajectory modifications and ongoing scientific observation. Standard diplomatic language designed to avoid mass panic while buying time for classified assessments. Privately, the global defense establishment went into crisis mode. Within 18 hours, the International Space Station's crew received routine maintenance orders that required them to power down all non-essential systems and prepare for potential communication blackouts. 3 separate military satellite networks quietly shifted to alternate orbital positions. A planned commercial lunar mission was delayed indefinitely due to technical complications. But the real action was happening in places the public never sees. Deep underground facilities, built during the Cold War and expanded in the decades since, suddenly came alive with unprecedented activity. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado, which had been operating on skeleton crews for years, was fully staffed within 72 hours. Similar bunkers in Russia, China, and the European Union showed massive electromagnetic signatures as their communication arrays came online. Sources within the defense establishment, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed a pattern of preparation that suggested this scenario wasn't entirely unexpected. There are files, one Pentagon analyst confided during a clandestine meeting, going back decades. Objects that didn't behave like natural phenomena, trajectories that suggested intelligence. Most were dismissed as sensor errors or classified as atmospheric anomalies. But some people kept watching, some people kept records. The implications sent chills through the intelligence community. Had objects like 3I/ATLAS visited before? Were there other encounters, other anomalous incidents that had been carefully hidden from public knowledge? Historical researchers began combing through classified archives with new urgency. Strange radar contacts reported by military installations in the 1960s. Unexplained atmospheric phenomena recorded by early warning systems during the Cold War. Satellite imagery from the 1980s showing objects that moved in ways that defied conventional physics. Patterns emerged that were impossible to dismiss as coincidence. Picture a machine 15 kilometers long and 8 kilometers wide, larger than Manhattan. Its surface appears seamless, like a single piece of grown metal. No rivets, no seams, no visible propulsion systems or docking ports. Radar imaging reveals an object that appears to have been manufactured as one continuous structure, impossible with any technology we understand. When 3I/ATLAS moves, there's no visible reaction mass, no chemical exhausts, no ion drives, no nuclear signatures. It violates Newton's third law, the fundamental principle that for every action there must be an equal and opposite reaction. Traditional propulsion works by expelling mass in one direction to create momentum in the other, explains Dr. Robert Chen, a propulsion engineer who has analyzed every frame of 3I/ATLAS data. But this object seems to manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. It doesn't push against anything, it makes space itself move. The energy efficiency is what truly terrifies physicists. Our most advanced spacecraft convert less than 3% of their fuel into useful propulsion. The rest is lost as heat, light, and electromagnetic radiation. 3I/ATLAS achieved its massive course correction while radiating virtually no waste energy. It operates with thermodynamic efficiency approaching 100%, something our physics textbooks say is impossible. But perhaps most disturbing is what deep field observations have revealed about its internal structure. Gravitational analysis suggests the object's mass distribution is completely hollow, as if the entire 15-kilometer hull contains vast empty spaces arranged in geometric patterns that serve no obvious structural purpose. It's not built like a ship, noted a structural engineer consulting for the European Space Agency. It's built like a city, or a factory. There are chambers in there the size of sports stadiums, connected by corridors that run for kilometers. This isn't a vehicle. This is a mobile installation. The implications cascade outward like shock waves. If 3I/ATLAS represents standard technology for its builders, what must their permanent installations look like? Their homeworlds, their military capabilities? For every human engineer studying the data, one thought echoes. If this is merely their reconnaissance probe, what are the builders themselves capable of? But 3I/ATLAS isn't traveling alone. October 8th brought a discovery that shattered any remaining hope. This was an isolated incident. Deep space monitoring stations began detecting secondary objects, smaller, but exhibiting the same impossible propulsion characteristics and following convergent trajectories toward our solar system. The first was designated Object Delta, caught by the Hubble Space Telescope as it performed methodical reconnaissance sweeps of Jupiter's moons. It spent 43 hours analyzing Europa's ice sheets with resolution that suggested they were mapping subsurface ocean currents, the kind of detailed environmental survey that precedes either scientific study or military occupation. Object Echo emerged from behind Mars 2 days later, moving in spiral patterns that allowed it to scan both Martian moons in detail. Unlike 3I/ATLAS, this one occasionally broadcast short-range signals toward deeper space, progress reports to some distant command structure. By October 15th, 5 distinct objects had been catalogued, all converging on Earth's orbital path with mathematical precision that eliminated any possibility of coincidence. But their behavior patterns revealed a level of coordination that went beyond simple navigation. They maintained perfect formation spacing, exactly 12.7 million kilometers apart, arranged in a pattern that military strategists recognized with growing dread, a classic escort formation used by naval fleets throughout human history. Someone, somewhere, had studied our military doctrine and was implementing it on a cosmic scale. "It's not just a fleet," whispered one analyst during a classified Pentagon briefing. "It's a fleet that understands human military theory. They've been watching us wage war for decades, maybe centuries." But the escort objects revealed something even more disturbing than their strategic arrangement. Each vessel was fundamentally different, not just in size, but in basic design philosophy and construction materials. Object Delta appeared to be made from crystalline structures that shifted and grew like living coral. Object Echo showed hull materials that absorbed all electromagnetic radiation, making it visible only as a dark silhouette against the star field. Object Foxtrot generated no detectable energy signature at all, moving through space in complete thermodynamic silence as if it existed partially outside normal space-time. "We're not looking at ships from one world," concluded a xenoarchaeologist secretly consulting for the SEIA. "We're looking at a coalition, multiple civilizations, each representing completely different evolutionary and technological paths, working together on this intervention." Radio telescopes detected constant cross-chatter between the objects, complex data streams flowing between ships in mathematical languages so sophisticated our best quantum computers couldn't even identify the underlying logical structures. Whatever they were discussing required unprecedented bandwidth. The information density was so high it suggested they were sharing complete databases, stellar maps, biological surveys, tactical assessments, cultural analyses, real-time intelligence coordination between beings separated by millions of kilometers of hard vacuum. But the truly disturbing discovery came when linguists noticed the communication patterns were adapting. Signal frequencies shifted after major news broadcasts. Formation adjustments followed international military exercises. Data bursts spiked during UN Security Council meetings. They weren't just approaching Earth, they were actively studying us, modifying their plans based on real-time intelligence gathering. Every human decision, every policy change, every military exercise was being analyzed and incorporated into their operational framework. The most chilling intercept came on October 22nd. A burst transmission between three I/ATLAS and Object Echo contained embedded mathematical structures that translation algorithms identified as probability matrices, statistical models predicting human responses to various scenarios. Within those probability models, cryptographers found something that made their blood freeze. Detailed assessments of our military capabilities, industrial capacity, population distribution, and resource allocation. Information so precise it could only have come from decades of systematic surveillance. They knew exactly what they were dealing with: our weapons, our weaknesses, our likely responses to contact or invasion. This wasn't first contact between strangers. This was the culmination of a long-term intelligence operation. Current tracking models confirm three I/ATLAS will pass within 400,000 kilometers of Earth on October 31st at exactly 23:17 UTC, Halloween night, when the boundary between the known and unknown traditionally grows thin. That proximity will give it 72 unobstructed hours to study our planet with resolution we can barely imagine. To map our cities, catalog our technology, track our military installations, and assess our capabilities as either allies or obstacles. The timing feels deliberate. Halloween, humanity's oldest holiday dedicated to confronting the unknown when masks come off and hidden truths are revealed. Either cosmic coincidence or beings with a sense of dramatic irony that spans light years. Governments continue their quiet preparations. Military satellites have gone dark. Emergency bunkers report unusual staffing levels. But the uncomfortable truth remains: if three I/ATLAS and its escorts intend harm, our defenses are meaningless against technology that rewrites physics itself. Recent developments suggest the approaching fleet isn't just here for reconnaissance. Ground-based observatories have detected massive energy buildups within each vessel, power levels that serve no obvious navigational purpose. They're preparing for something that requires industrial-level energy generation. The question that haunts every analyst: preparing for what? Intelligence communities worldwide have identified 4 primary scenarios for what happens when 3 I/ATLAS reaches Earth. Scenario 1. Diplomatic contact. The fleet represents a galactic confederation making formal first contact with humanity. The precision timing, the mathematical communications, the advanced technology demonstration, all designed to establish credibility before beginning interstellar diplomatic relations. Scenario 2. Resource assessment. Earth has been identified as a source of materials, energy, or biological specimens. The fleet is conducting final surveys before beginning extraction operations. Our consent is irrelevant. We're simply another resource-bearing planet being catalogued and processed. Scenario 3. Intervention protocol. Humanity has reached some critical threshold, technological, environmental, or behavioral, that threatens galactic stability. The fleet represents a cosmic police action here to either guide our development or prevent our expansion beyond Earth. Scenario 4. The harvest. The most terrifying possibility: we're not the first. This is a systematic operation that has visited countless worlds, each time arriving with the same precision timing, the same overwhelming technology, the same careful preparation. Earth isn't being contacted. It's being processed according to protocols refined across thousands of similar encounters. Which scenario matches the evidence? The mathematical precision suggests planning. The overwhelming technological superiority suggests confidence. The systematic surveillance suggests we're not dealing with explorers or diplomats. We're dealing with beings who have done this before. 37 days remain until 3 I/ATLAS reaches its closest approach to Earth. Every hour brings clearer signals, more refined data, and deeper questions about humanity's place in a universe far more crowded and dangerous than we ever imagined. The cosmos has been watching us, cataloging our progress, measuring our capabilities, and now Judgment Day approaches with the mechanical precision of beings who turn stellar engineering into routine manufacturing. On October 31st, 2025, the masks come off. For children collecting candy in suburban neighborhoods, and for a species about to discover whether we're destined for galactic citizenship or cosmic extinction. The countdown has already begun. There's no turning back now. Mark your calendars. Because Halloween 2025 will either mark humanity's graduation to interstellar civilization, or the night we learned that in the vast darkness of space, we were never alone. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Stay vigilant, stay curious, and remember, we're 47 days away from answering questions that have haunted humanity since we first looked up at the night sky and wondered who might be looking back. The answer is approaching at 40 kilometers per second, and it knows exactly where we live.